My parents tried to force me into becoming a full-time, unpaid nanny for my niece. When I refused, they cut me off. Now they're desperate, begging for my help as their perfect plan falls apart. So, I'm 28, female, and a pediatric nurse. I grew up in a family that's always put a lot of pressure on me, especially since I'm the responsible one. My parents are old school, the type that thinks a woman's job is to settle down and raise kids. And they were always disappointed that I didn't just jump into that. My sister, Amy, who's 31, had her daughter, Lily, pretty young. She's always been the favorite, the golden child who could do no wrong, and I was always expected to help out because I was the younger, free one. That meant that while they were throwing money and support at Amy, I was mostly on my own. I put myself through school, became a nurse, and made a decent life for myself. But somehow, that just wasn't good enough for them. Things came to a head around 6 months ago. My dad called me, saying they wanted to have a family discussion about something important. I figured it was something about Amy, probably needing more help since she'd just started a new job. But when I got there, they sat me down in the living room and got straight to it. My dad said, "We've decided that it would be best for you to quit your job and come back to live with Amy and help take care of Lily full-time." I thought he was kidding. I even laughed. But my mom jumped in, all serious, saying, "You're the one with the flexibility, honey. You don't have a family of your own yet, and Lily needs stability. Amy has so much on her plate, and we're getting ready to move to Florida." I just stared at them, waiting for them to explain why they thought this made any sense. They went on to explain that they'd saved their whole lives to retire in Florida, and it wasn't fair to them to have to delay that. Amy, meanwhile, just sat there smirking, not saying a word. I told them flat out that this wasn't going to happen. I had a career, one that I worked hard for, and I wasn't about to give it up to play nanny just because they felt entitled to my time and effort. My dad's face got all red, and he said, "You're being selfish. Lily needs family right now, and this is your chance to be there for her." My mom jumped in, saying, "You owe it to us. We've always been there for you." I reminded her that I'd been paying my own way since I was 18, that they hadn't helped me with college, rent, or really anything. But she just brushed it off, saying, "Amy's situation is different. She's a single mom, and you have to understand that it's not the same." I finally said, "I'm not quitting my job, and I'm not moving back. If Amy needs a babysitter, she can hire one. It's not my responsibility." That's when they turned nasty. My mom said, "If you walk away from this, don't expect us to be there for you when you need it. Don't expect a cent from us." They basically told me that if I wasn't willing to do this for the family, I'd be on my own for good. I told them I'd rather be on my own than get blackmailed into giving up my life. Amy just rolled her eyes, like I was being dramatic. My parents told me to leave, saying, "Don't come back unless you're ready to put family first." I left feeling more frustrated than anything else. It was like they didn't care about me at all. They just wanted me to be Amy's safety net, her live-in nanny, so she could keep living her life without consequence. Over the next few months, they followed through on cutting me off. No calls, no texts, no holiday invitations. I was just gone to them. And to be honest, I was fine with that. It hurt at first, but I got used to it. I didn't have to deal with their guilt trips, their constant expectations, their complaints about how I was always disappointing them. Then, a few weeks ago, I get a call from my dad. He sounded different, almost frantic, like he was trying to hold it together. He said, "Amy's in trouble. She lost her job, she can't make rent, and she's going to get evicted. We need you to come back and help." I said, "I told you before, I'm not doing that." He started saying that I was being vindictive, that I was punishing them for making a mistake, and that I was letting my niece suffer because of a grudge. I told him, "This isn't my grudge, this is my life. And you all decided I wasn't family the minute I said no to your plan." My mom called next, all fake sweet, like she thought if she just buttered me up, I'd give in. She even said they'd help me get a place if I just came back to be with family for a while. I almost laughed. They didn't even want me to live with Amy. They just wanted me close enough to be at her beck and call. I told her I wasn't interested. She got mad and started saying, "Well, if anything happens to Lily, that'll be on you." I told her I loved Lily, but I wasn't her mother. That's Amy's job, not mine. This wasn't even the first time they'd tried to guilt-trip me into helping them out. They'd pulled all kinds of crap over the years, trying to control me whenever it suited them. Every holiday season, I was expected to help out with Lily and the family. My mom would call it bonding time, but really, it was just her way of making sure I did all the work so Amy could have a break. If I ever tried to say no, my mom would act like I was ruining the holiday for everyone, saying stuff like, "Lily's been looking forward to this, and you can't just leave us hanging like that." One year, she even told me, "If you don't want to be part of this family, maybe you shouldn't come at all." After I refused to become their live-in nanny, my mom took it to a whole new level. She called and left voicemails saying, "Lily keeps asking why her aunt doesn't love her anymore." She even got Lily to FaceTime me once, whispering, "Ask Annie why she doesn't want to see you." I stopped going home for the holidays altogether. I spent Christmas with friends that year and had one of the best holidays of my life. My mom was furious, calling me selfish, saying I was abandoning my family. But I just let it go. I wasn't going to let them guilt me into being Amy's unpaid babysitter anymore. They were masters at twisting the story to make me look like the bad guy. When I graduated from nursing school, they barely acknowledged it, focusing instead on Amy's natural caregiving instincts. Even after I got promoted, they shrugged it off, saying things like, "It's a shame you're so busy all the time. If only you could focus on family more." After the whole nanny incident, they started telling family members that I was the one who pulled away. My dad even told people, "We never asked her to quit her job. We just wanted her to help a little." I'd had enough. I started keeping track of every interaction and every manipulation. When relatives reached out, I laid it all out, detailing the years of guilt trips and unfair demands. Some of them actually listened, and a few even apologized for not seeing the full picture. The family dynamic shifted a little, enough to make my parents think twice about spreading lies, at least. After I refused the nanny role, my dad suddenly developed vague health issues. He'd call, talking about doctor visits and test results, making it sound like he was on death's door. I asked him directly what was wrong, and he got defensive, saying, "You wouldn't ask for proof if you really cared." I called his bluff. I told him, "If you're trying to guilt me with a fake health scare, that's low, even for you." He didn't bring it up again after that. Amy was always coming to me for money, crying about bills, rent, or Lily's school supplies. I used to help out, thinking she was genuinely struggling. Then I found out she was spending the money on designer clothes, gadgets, and other luxuries. After I stopped sending money, she told everyone I was stingy and unsupportive. After I turned down the nanny offer, Amy told family friends that she was barely making ends meet and implied that if she ended up homeless, it'd be my fault. When people asked, I picked up my phone and told them exactly how much I'd already given Amy over the years. I even showed one of our cousins a few of the old receipts I'd kept for rent payments, school supplies, and even grocery money. I explained that the real issue wasn't my lack of support, but Amy's spending habits, and how she chose to prioritize luxuries over her daughter's needs. After that, the guilt calls from family friends dropped off. People saw that I wasn't just being difficult. I was setting boundaries after years of being taken advantage of. A few of them actually reached out to apologize, saying they hadn't realized how much I'd been asked to do. It was a small victory, but it felt good to finally have someone see the truth. This one was especially underhanded. After cutting me off, my mom somehow convinced a couple of our mutual friends to keep tabs on me through social media. They'd like my posts, ask casual questions in DMs, or randomly bring up Amy or Lily to see if I'd react. It became clear they were reporting back to my parents because, every now and then, my mom would call me and say things like, "I heard you went out last weekend. Wouldn't it be nice if you visited your niece instead?" At first, I thought I was being paranoid, but then one of those mutual friends slipped up. She casually mentioned something in a way that made it clear she was fishing for information. I asked her directly if she'd been talking to my mom, and she got defensive, then tried to change the subject. That confirmed it. I confronted my mom directly about it. I told her, "If you want to know what I'm up to, just ask. And if you keep using my friends to spy on me, I'll cut them off too." She was caught off guard and denied it at first, but after that, the weird social media check-ins stopped. It was one of the few times I'd actually managed to scare her enough to back down. So, a few weeks ago, after months of no contact, my dad calls me again. This time he sounds desperate, almost pleading. He says Amy's been evicted, can't find a job, and has nowhere to go. He tried to play the sympathy card, saying, "Think of Lily. She needs her aunt right now. She doesn't deserve to suffer because of this." I told him I did think of Lily, and that's why I said no to being dragged into this mess in the first place. You made it clear that family isn't a two-way street here. He kept pushing, getting more and more frustrated, until finally he snapped and said, "One day, you'll realize how selfish you've been. You're punishing us for a mistake, and you're letting a little girl suffer because of it." I replied, "No, I'm letting you deal with the consequences of your choices. You chose to cut me off when I didn't fall in line, remember?" Then he tried a new approach, saying that they'd forgive me if I'd just come back and be part of the family again. I told him I wasn't interested in their version of family, where I was only valuable as long as I did what they wanted. I hung up on him and blocked his number. I haven't heard from any of them since that last call, and honestly, it's a relief. For the first time, I feel free. I no longer have to worry about the guilt trips, the passive-aggressive comments, or the constant demands on my time and energy. I'm finally building a life that's about me, not about being someone else's support system or fallback plan. Surprisingly, the only family member I keep in touch with is Lily. Through a mutual friend, I arranged to see her every now and then, so she knows I'm still her aunt and that I love her. I make sure she knows she can come to me if she needs anything, but I don't let Amy or my parents know about these visits. I want Lily to grow up knowing she has someone who cares about her, without the baggage and manipulation that comes from the rest of my family. At this point, I've accepted that my relationship with my parents and Amy may never be repaired, and that's okay. I've spent so much of my life trying to earn their approval and make them see me as more than just a convenience, but I finally see that they don't want me. They want what I can do for them. And if they can't respect me or my choices, then they don't deserve to be part of my life. Standing up to them has been one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it's also been the most freeing. I know now that family doesn't mean putting yourself last, and that just because people are related to you doesn't mean they have the right to control your life. I've learned to value my own boundaries and needs, and for once, I feel like I'm living for myself. And if they ever decide to respect me for who I am, not for what I can do for them, maybe things could change. But until then, I'm done.